Well, friends, neighbors, and honored guests, really, I can't thank you enough for having this opportunity to visit this beautiful and solemn Memorial Park. I also want to express my gratitude as the Fort McCoy Garrison Commander for welcoming all of our service members into your communities. Now, I do have a short speech. I'm going to go over a lot of history and kind of bring us back on what was happening in our nation at the time of the signing of our Declaration of Independence. Now, on this day in 1776, our forefathers declared our nation's independence to the world. This event occurred over a year after our colonies had erupted in full rebellion against tyranny. By the time of its signing, our fledgling nation had already experienced great victories and had suffered tragic defeats. Our quest for independence began on April 19th of 1775 with engagements at Lexington and Concord. During the course of that day, 95 Americans and 269 British soldiers lost their lives. Ethan Allen's Green Mountain Boys captured Fort Ticonderoga in early May of that year. In June, the Second Continental Congress created the Continental Army, and they appointed George Washington as its first commander-in-chief. 3 days later, 115 Americans were killed at the Battle of Bunker Hill, and another 305 were wounded. The battles and maneuvers throughout the next year escalated in suffering, as General Henry Knox and a small band of patriots accomplished what was thought impossible by transporting the guns of Fort Ticonderoga hundreds of miles in the dead of winter through forest and marsh to join the siege at Boston, which was brought to a successful conclusion on March 17th of 1776. Scores of smaller engagements and skirmishers occurred throughout the colonies in the 15 months leading up to our Declaration of Independence, with patriots paying a price in blood from areas as far apart as Quebec, Montreal, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and even during the first ever American amphibious assault at New Providence Island in the Bahamas. By July 4th of 1776, casualties on both sides were significant, hardship was common, and the result of the rebellion was still in question. Yet, when the Declaration of Independence was read in the public squares throughout the colonies, it was met with huzzas, musket fire, and the ringing of church bells. In spite of the Antioch blood, and in certain knowledge that the toll was certainly going to be higher in the future, the public readings were met with celebration. And I cannot... When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the limited bands which connected them with another, and to assume among the powers their separate and equal station, to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Along with those that followed, altered the course of human history. The signers of our Declaration of Independence refused to identify nationhood by the individual rulers that claimed dominion over their people and the lands. To our founding fathers, these were not simply words. They displayed their resolve through extreme risk. Many of the signers were amongst the most affluential of the colonists. They had everything to lose and very little personally to gain. Of the signers of our founding document, 12 served in the military during the war. 7 had their own private property confiscated or destroyed by the British. 5 went to prison. Most of these were as prisoners of war captured on the battlefield. In addition, many had family members that were captured, suffered horrible wounds in battle, or spent much of their own personal fortunes in order to finance our struggle for independence. All of them understood that placing their signatures on that declaration could very well end with their capture and execution. Our founders understood that if they were to gain their freedom, they must fight for it. This remains uncontrovertible today. Although many of our citizens appear to believe that freedom is a natural occurrence and that America can never lose this God-given gift, we recognize here that patriots remain who believe in the same ideals as the colonists of 1776. The struggle for freedom is constant, and success still rests upon rugged individualism, clarity of moral purpose, and the acknowledgement of American exceptionalism. Now, shortly we will commemorate the fallen from our state. I encourage you to do 2 things. First, mourn the loss of our neighbors and friends, and reflect on the future they each lost so that we can be free. Then, consider how fortunate we are to live in a country that acknowledges the truth of the ideals in the document whose signing we celebrate today. And like our forefathers on July 4th of 1776, laugh, sing, and shout as you celebrate our Independence Day. It is a just way to honor their sacrifice. God bless you.
And we'll join him in Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars to the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Detail, hop. Left face. Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Detail, attention. Detail, forward arms, right shoulder arms, right